Welcome to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast, the show for women who are seeking more fulfillment in life and simply not getting it from their current situation. We focus specifically on careers, but hey, we spend a lot of time in our careers, so making changes here will definitely create an impact in your overall happiness. I'm your host, Simone Morris, and my mission is to empower women to succeed. I believe that in order to powerfully own your career, you must decide and claim that you want to sit in the driver's seat. You must know that you deserve better and be willing to not only do the requisite work, but be willing to go out on a limb to ensure your success. Each episode focuses on profiling a leader who is clearly demonstrating ownership of their career. Join me and my guests as we explore career journeys and bring you actionable strategies to use to get into the driver's seat for your career. Because ultimately, your career is your responsibility. Let's get into the show. Welcome to this week's episode of the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. I'm so happy to have with us this week Jennifer Darling, who is the fabulous speaker, LinkedIn guru, and just an overall amazing person. I just love her energy. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Simone. I am so excited to be here. And now we get to experience the energy of each other because I love your energy too.
Thank you so much. Well, let's get our listeners up to speed. Can you tell us about who you are and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, you got it. So again, my name's Jennifer Darling, and I live in beautiful I almost said North Carolina, Northern California. The reason I said that is because I travel a lot for my speaking business, and I'm in North Carolina or South Carolina coming up soon. So it's funny that I even said that. I live in Northern Carolina, and I have been in sales and marketing my entire professional career. I grew up selling advertising and an advertising sales manager for companies like CBS, Fox, Comcast. And I did that my whole entire career until I decided to branch out on my own and start a career as a speaker.
Wonderful. So what was for you the game-changing moment or defining moment that said to you, you were responsible for your career?
I would say there definitely was a defining moment, although there were probably a lot of things leading up to that aha moment. I kind of call it the moment where I think I was being thrown pebbles until God threw a boulder at me and said, hey, wake up, you need to do something about this. But I had been, now that I look back in the rearview mirror, I had been getting pebbles all along the way. And those pebbles looked like a career that was filled with making every goal, breaking every single sales budget, new business development, doing all the things, plus being an overachiever in my business of sales, and yet not feeling fulfilled. And so it would come in just pieces and pieces and pieces until I took a job where I had a manager who at the time I thought was just absolutely awful. And, he was just a bad boss. And I spent 4 years dealing with that bad boss until the last year of that company. And I was sick for the whole entire year, like physically sick the whole entire year. And that was the boulder in which said to me, it's time. You need to do something else.
Well, I love that story, Jennifer, because I can definitely relate to that. I said my messages were from God, the things that were happening to me that I kept ignoring until I could not ignore it any further. So I'm curious to know, what is it, or what did you tell yourself when you finally heard that message that said, okay, my health is at stake here. I really need to do something different. What clicked?
Yeah, what was funny is I had about 6 months, maybe more, before I had left that particular job. I had received an email, spontaneous email from one of my mentors who I'd never met, but it was a national speaker and author who I'd been following for years. And I received an email and it said, did I want to become a certified advisor facilitating his workshops. And it was like a light bulb went off, and God just opened the clouds, and it was whoa moment. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. I absolutely want to do this. Now, it came with a few hurdles to get there, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So it was an instant moment that said, you need to do something else. And here's the thing right in front of you that you need to do. Now, I want to say, I wish that I could be lucky and have had that years before, because I certainly wouldn't have been so miserable and sick. And now looking back, Simone, the reality is there were things that I was in control of far before that could have made my journey a lot better. And it was never about the bad boss, but it was always about me. And there was something I was missing that I really just, quite frankly, recently figured out that made a huge difference. So there were a couple of points in my life where I could say I was hit with that boulder. And then because of my experiences, I can also look back and say, I had lots of signs. These were the incredible signs, but there were things I could have done that would have made my journey a lot better along the way anyway.
Yeah. Isn't it funny when you think about hindsight, where that's just wisdom that comes with age and experience, right? So, what would you say your secret sauce or your formula for owning your career successfully is?
Yeah, so I would say unequivocally, without doubt, you have to find the thing that makes you happy. And for me, I was unhappy in a lot of areas in my life. And one day it would be this area, the next day it would be this area, or 1 week or 1 year or whatever. But really finding a harmony in all those places, I thought that wasn't possible, to find harmony in all the things that matter to me, whether it was my career, my health, my relationships, my marriage, my friendships, whatever, finding harmony in all those. So for me, what happened was, as I said earlier, I was making all these budgets. I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, and I seemed a high achiever, but yet inside I was so unfulfilled. So what ended up happening was I learned about something called Life's Intentions, a course that I took with Dr. Maria Nemeth. And she teaches this course called Mastering Life's Energies. And what I learned from that course was, below the surface of the goals and the things that I had been achieving were life's intentions. Now, some people might say, oh, it's your purpose, it's your why, but those words never resonated with me. And I know they resonate with a lot of people. So go you, if those resonate with you. But for me, they weren't clicking. And so I'm like, I don't know what my big why is. I don't have kids. So that's a lot of people's big why is they have kids, but I didn't have kids. I have dogs and I love them. They're my kids, but they're not my big why. I just couldn't find it. And so then when I learned about Life's Intentions, is more of like, it's not one thing. It's here are the many reasons that I'm here on earth. And here's the way I want to be in my life. So it's more of an ontological approach than an emotional approach or thinkings and feelings and approach. But it was like, here's the way I want to be. And when I received a list that Dr. Maria Nemeth gave, and you can add to the list, but when I received her list, it was probably about 20 different things and 25 different things. I actually, for the first time, saw areas in my life that really were of importance to me. And then that made the goals I was setting change to the goals to meet those life's intentions, change to help me be more fulfilled in life, and really set me on a whole new trajectory. So for example, one of my life's intentions is that I want to be adventurous. And I wasn't being adventurous when I was depressed and upset and sick over work. And so now being adventurous for me looks like I moved to this absolutely beautiful place, and we're surrounded by waterfalls. And now my goal is to go and to be hiking waterfalls. That is, to me, to be adventurous. So I can say it, and then I can also I can also demonstrate it by doing the actual work, setting a timeline and doing that. And it makes me feel so fulfilled in all areas of my life, making my life feel more harmonious. Now, for my business and my career, I mean, that being adventurous still helps in that area so much. I also want to be financially successful. So now, instead of having a goal of making every sales budget and goal and whatever that I had, it's I want to be financially successful. And so what are the things I'm doing to be that way?
I love the story that you just shared, just about the intention and being in the driver's seat to really move yourself to a space where you can live on purpose or on intention with the adventurous goal. I love that. So how do you deal with risk or building the risk muscle as you move about in life, Jennifer?
Right. So I think of that. What I hear from that is a question about resilience, is how do you build resilience? And I'll tell you, when I was sick and unfulfilled, there wasn't any resilience. It was like everything came at me like a dagger. I was having lots of anxiety, lots of panic attacks. I went to Costa Rica on a beautiful trip and had an anxiety attack on the monkey boat tour, which was supposed to be the highlight of my tour. Because I felt like I was frail. And, it really was, I was in a really susceptible, vulnerable place, but not vulnerable in like the Brene Brown kind of awesome, courageous way, but more like vulnerable where everything was coming at me and everything felt difficult and piercing my heart or my brain. And so what I would say is, I really, really, really felt like once I will just say the life's intentions thing has affected so many areas of my life. So now that I am planning my life around those things, which they can change as well, I can change them whenever I want. But when I'm planning my life around those things, it gives me the confidence to say no to what is not serving me and my life's intentions. And by saying no, I am building up resilience to be able to manage the risks that come my way. By saying no to that and yes to the things that really help me fulfill my life's goals has been a game changer. Now, that said, it doesn't mean that I still don't have risk. It doesn't mean that sometimes my cloak of resilience comes down or comes off or is pierced through. I recently did a video that took a lot of courage, and it was really brave on my part. And I did a video and it was about me dealing with anxiety and having the panic attack in Costa Rica. I've had many, many other panic attacks too, but it had to do with that. And that was the time in my life where I was working at that miserable job. And so everything was coming at me and really bothering me, if you will. So I did this video, and then it got picked up by the Power of Positivity, and it went viral, and it had hundreds of thousands of views. And that morning I was supposed to get on and respond to people, and I did that, and it was great seeing all the positive feedback. But then there started to become negative feedback, and people saying, she doesn't know what she's doing, she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's people like her that shouldn't be speaking out about anxiety because she doesn't know what she's doing. Why is she trying to get attention? Just all this like negative things. And this was last week, by the way, not that long ago. And I mean, I felt crushed. I felt like I did this thing that was brave and courageous, and I put it out there, and now I'm getting all this negative feedback. And by the way, the positive feedback was probably 100 or 500 to 1 negative feedback, but that negative feedback really hit me hard. So I took the day, after a while, I stopped looking at the negative feedback. Mm-hmm. The sad part is it also meant I didn't see the positive feedback, but I had to turn it off, because what I realized was if my message reached the right person, it was worth me being courageous to support and help that one person. And that evening, I got a message from a woman who said, can you give me some tips for what you do? I totally loved your video. I'm really dealing with this myself, blah, blah, blah. And I responded back to her immediately. And she said, just by you responding back, you have made a huge difference in my life. And so I knew that I didn't need to look at all the messages from everyone. I could wait for the special messages to come in. I could know that the message that I gave was one that many people were going to resonate with, even if they didn't tell me. And I could just feel proud and fulfilled about being courageous and brave and knowing that if I affected one person, it was worth it.
Indeed. So what advice, knowing that, what advice would you give to someone wanting to successfully own their career, Jennifer?
I would say there are a few different things, but the first thing that I would take a look at is if you're a person who feels like everything is not looking your way and you keep getting the same signs over and over and over about something. So for me, it was like bad boss, like bad boss, bad boss, bad boss. Well, eventually I'm like, okay, well, there's one common theme here of bad boss, and that's me. So I'd say the first thing to do is to take a look at yourself, do life's inventory, figure out what's important to you, and do that right away. Even if you're having the best career of your life and you're in a great place right now and you want to climb the ladder and you want to break the glass ceiling and you want to rule the world, do that now too. So no matter if you're feeling down in your career or if you're up and you're on top of the world in your career, take a life's inventory right now. Figure out what's important to you. Write down, especially pen and paper. If you still have it, I use it close. Write down those things that are valuable to you, because it's in your standards of integrity and your values that will create the foundation, the solid foundation for whatever comes to you. So that's one thing. The second thing I would say is, especially if you are moving into a leadership role or you're in a leadership role and you're moving to a higher leadership role, is that as you get higher on the leadership ladder, they talk about it's lonely on the top because there's less people that you're colleagues with. And I'm going to say that that is false. I think we have been in a business world that has really been very hierarchical. If I said that right, hierarchy.
You did. I always have to think when I say that word.
Right, exactly, right. And it doesn't need to be that way. You can surround yourself with great people, and you need to, in today's world, you need to not just be the leader, but you need to be the inspirer, and you need to hold up your people up and have their backs. So that would be the next thing, is take a look at your team and who you're with. Don't make it lonely at the top. Make it welcoming and make it full of people who support each other in all of their journeys.
Absolutely. Love that so much. Are there any resources that you have found? I know you spoke about Maria Nemeth, but are there any resources online or otherwise that you have found to support your journey in your career?
That's a great question. Online, well, first I would say listen to your podcast and make sure people are subscribing to your podcast. And I say that with sincerity because I know you truly are looking for information to help support people. So the first thing I would say is put that on your, high list of things to do and listen to. And then I would say it depends on your personality, because some people like video, some people like to listen to podcasts, some people like to read, some people like all three. So find resources that you're going to engage with. I think podcasts are fantastic. I think if there's one thing specific that I could point to, I couldn't say, because it took me many different things, information and knowledge that really helped me. I would more so say, beside your podcast, is to get yourself in a mastermind group, and whether it's a group of girlfriends, boyfriends, colleagues, friends, whatever, or a group of business colleagues, find yourself in a mastermind group, a small group of people with other trusted advisors, because the human connection between the people and the support you get will be really awesome, far beyond anything you could read. I would also say, though, to set yourself up with positive affirmations. So whether you need to be watching TED Talks or reading great books, find yourself a way to add positive affirmations to your life on a daily basis. So I'd say those three things: Listen, watch or read. Find a mastermind group of people who you can support and support you. And then find a way to have daily positive affirmations in your life.
That's great advice, Jennifer. I definitely second the mastermind thing. I did a mastermind group. I actually did it with NSA, the Black NSA mastermind group, and found that to be very helpful from a speaker standpoint. And then I also did another one with diversity and inclusion experts. So definitely the mastermind thing is something I connect to. And I really believe it's game changing to find those trusted advisors along the career journey. I cannot let you leave without talking about LinkedIn. So from owning your, I mean, this is your jam, right? So from a
superpower.
Exactly. So from a owning your career perspective, what are some strategies or things that people could do to sort of rock it on the LinkedIn platform?
Yes, absolutely. You need to position yourself on LinkedIn. So oftentimes people will create a LinkedIn profile. They really just throw it up. I need a LinkedIn profile. And they throw it up and they put their resume in there and they think that's what they need to do. Well, that's better than doing nothing at all. But you have this platform that is absolutely remarkable that you've never, ever, ever, ever had in your life before to create yourself as a brand, as a positioning, create your own positioning statement to position you of the best that you are. And so many people aren't taking advantage of it. And the ones who are rocking it. The world's changing, and you certainly can be one amongst many people applying for a job. You can be one amongst many people who go to Indeed.com. You could be one against many people who are applying for a promotion. But when it comes down to it, and if the playing field looks equal, all the resumes look the same, or they all look similar, then people are going to LinkedIn to take a look at you and what you're about. So not just your experience, but what is your entire body of work? Who are you? What are your values? What are you going to contribute to your company? And now that's not just for job seekers. That's also if you're in a leadership position and you're trying to recruit people are looking at your profile and they are measuring you too. Are you the leader that they want to work for? Is diversity something that is important to you? This is important to a lot of people. So are you not just talking about it, but are you sharing that? Are there financial opportunities to grow? Does your company offer an opportunity to advance in their careers? There are so many things that people are looking for in a job, and you can use LinkedIn as a leader and a recruiter to show that you are the person doing that. So both from looking for a job to people who are searching to grow their team. And then third, I would say if you're somebody who is going more the entrepreneurial route and you're going to be having your own business, you absolutely must have a phenomenal LinkedIn profile because, again, it's social proof and people are looking for you and how you're going to grow their business and that you know what their challenges are, that you know how to solve them and you have a path to help them solve them. Speakers, consultants, professional services, B2B salespeople. I mean, it's just such a wonderful thing for so many different kinds of people.
Well, Jennifer, thank you. You could just hear the expertise just oozing out, and that was just a little bit. So Jennifer definitely knows her stuff. Jennifer, tell our listeners how they can stay connected with you.
Yes, I would say the absolute first thing you should do is connect with me on LinkedIn. That platform, as you just said, is my superpower, my expertise, and I love to be connected with people. I give a lot of value on LinkedIn. So connect with me on LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn is Jennifer Darling Speaks. You can also go to my website and you can get your own LinkedIn self-assessment to help use a checklist to do that. So those two ways, I would say, are the best two ways to get a hold of me, get in touch with me, and you can learn more about LinkedIn or ask me questions about my career trajectory if you'd like, whatever. And make sure that you say that you had heard this conversation on Simone's podcast.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been amazing and insightful and inspiring. So thank you so much for being a guest on the Power of Owning Your Career podcast.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you for listening to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. It is my hope that you enjoyed today's episode. You can check out the show notes for this episode on the SimoneMorrisEnterprises.org website by clicking the podcast menu. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and tell a friend or two about it.